love how when I exit a level, I can actually hear the door that I smashed the rock to open reopen right above me, rather than just, you know, staying open. Kinda silly. But now we're back here, and we got this level that's just been dying to be explored ever since we first set foot in Winter Tundra. And this is Mystic Marsh, which I really can't tell you the reason why, but Mystic Marsh has, I think, always been my favorite level in the original Spyro 2. I don't know, I think it's mostly because it's just like such a non-linear world that's like all clustered together and yet still makes a lot of sense. And it's just such a whimsical place. The challenges there, honestly, aren't that great, but I just love the feel of it. And I think the recreation here is pretty good, so let's check it out. Uh-oh. The water must flow! And yeah, this is also my wife, Lex's least favorite level because her favorite animal is elephants, and whenever she sees me playing this level, she always has to shield her eyes whenever I torch one. So, Gesundheit, yeah. But, oh, I love what they did with the level. It looks a slightly darker than the original. I think this is like more of a sunset type setting, but by God, do the colors just, holy crap, hi. Do the colors just leap right off the screen. And also these wizard guys look really good too. They looked, honestly, a little bit creepy in the original. Their eyes were really beady and their mouths were like really wide and they looked like some sort of deformed Muppet. But here, they look really cool.
Things just aren't the same since our magic fountain shut off. It sure would help if you could find out what evil force is behind this disaster.
And that's another thing that I'm not really keen on for the redesign of this level. The voices of the wizards are honestly kind of annoying, and they also don't really fit. The wizards in the original had kind of a, I don't know, a very simple voice, like the kind of voice that you would hear from a cool radio DJ. I know that's kind of a weird analogy for a whimsical wizard that is able to manipulate water, but still. Get out of here. You know, he had kind of a deep voice, but it wasn't like very commanding. I don't know, it was really fitting, but here he just sounds like a nasally nerd who's playing World of Warcraft in his basement. Just doesn't really fit that well. But again, as I keep on saying, these are minor nitpicks, and it in no way tarnishes the experience as a whole. And I still really like this level. It looks really cool. And still has some, you know, imaginative enemy designs. And again, the layout is... it's one of the least linear levels in Spyro 2. I would say that... oh my god, the backdrop. The backdrop also looks fantastic. There's a bit of a drop-off, but you can see, like, all these mountains and trees in the distance. It actually kind of looks like... the backdrop makes it kind of look like a level out of the first Jak and Daxter game. Looks really nice. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was saying how linear this level is. This is... in terms of linearity, is that a word? This level is the closest that they came to, like, some of the less linear levels in the very first Spyro game. Like, Stone Hill being a good example. Didn't quite match it, but they came fairly close. I mean, this level does have two, well, levels. It has a bottom level, where all of these enemies are, and also a top level that's like amongst the trees and at the top of the cliff. And there's plenty of stuff to do in both, which is really cool. For that matter, Treetops is a fairly non-linear level as well, in which you actually had to backtrack and like pass by the return home portal several times before you could get 100% completion. And also there's even a tiny underwater section here with these guys right here. These, I guess, puffer platypi, I guess is what they were going for here. I love how they're... You know, their eyes don't expand with the rest of their body, so they're like really far apart when they blow it out like that. It looks really funny. I'm not gonna lie, those guys actually kind of used to scare me as a kid, because they didn't really quite have the rhythm down of when they were gonna puff out like that. And it used to make me nervous. Should I charge them now or wait until a little bit later? I don't know. I don't want to get hurt, and I also don't want my controller to vibrate unexpectedly, because I am really sensitive to senses when it comes to stuff like that. Alright, see, this is one complaint that I have about this level, is that you unlock this big bounce. Like, how many enemies? I know it takes 20 enemies to unlock. How many enemies do I have right now? I have exactly 20. So yeah, there's exactly 20 enemies on this, bottom level here. So this makes it a little bit too easy to access the top level, when what you're kind of hinted at that you're supposed to do is ride this whirlwind up. So it kind of defeats the purpose, honestly. I mean, yes, it does create a handy shortcut, but I think there should have been slightly fewer enemies on the bottom level so that Big Bounce doesn't get unlocked until you actually are on the upper level. If that makes any sense at all. It's kind of what they did in Colossus as well. Is have, not as many enemies on the bottom level to unlock the Big Bounce. I think there was actually exactly, gosh darn it, 11 enemies, like, in the entire level before you got to the Big Bounce itself. So that, you know, makes a whole lot more sense. And here we go. You might have noticed, yeah, I totally, like, my gosh, I keep on glossing over stuff that I probably should stop and explain, but I just get so, you know, immersed in this game. It's just like second nature to me, and I completely forget that there might be people watching this series that have never played the game before. So if you notice, like in that stream earlier, there was a bunch of cute little duckies swimming around that I didn't really acknowledge, like, at all. And there's also what looks like this flower pot that, you know, looks like there might be something creepy and alive in it. What the heck was that? Wait, what? I have no idea what just happened. I would say that a couple enemies committed suicide, but then my spirit particle counter would go up, so I have no clue what the hell that was. I'm gonna be real with you, I've never seen that. That was weird. But yeah, all of these things, the duckies and the flower pot and a couple other things scattered throughout the level, they're gonna come into play in a certain challenge later in the level. And even though it's kind of a tedious challenge, especially if it's one that you've done several times, it is kind of creative, actually. I like it a lot. Oh, well, I defeated him when he was in puffer mode, and yet I also got hit, so... You gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet, I guess. You know how to jump, Spyro. My goodness gracious. And then there's this tunnel here with more of these guys. And, you know, while we're still kind of on the subject of enemies, I'm pretty sure this level has more enemies than any other level. Yeah, I think there's, what, maybe 2 more over here. Another one of these rhino dudes. And then one more lemur. 36 enemies. That's, for a level that's honestly not that big, that's pretty impressive. Wake up!
I must have dozed off there. Golly, looks like I let the fountain switch off. Here, take this orb and, don't mention my little nap to Hydra, okay?
I feel like that read could have been a little bit better, because in the original, he says, "Gee, looks like I turned the fountain switch off." It has that, like, the intonation of, "My God, I'm such a dumbass." You don't really get that here, unfortunately. Alright, so now we can actually use the Big Bounce, and first I'm gonna get this over here. Which, someone please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the only balloon vase in the entire game. They come back in spades in Spyro 3, but that one's just kinda there in Mystic Marsh and nowhere else. At least according to my memory, which has been known to fail me before. So if I'm wrong about that, then I apologize. And you'll also notice there's a little birdie's nest here. I wonder what that could be for. Little wonder. But first, let's help out this guy over here. He looks like he's on a safari, but his Jeep is broken down. Oh, bother.
Ah, Spyro, a friendly face. A bunch of rotten thieves have stolen my spark plugs, and I'm stuck here. Please get the 4 plugs back.
Gladly. However, what I want to know is how the heck you actually got your Jeep up to this place. Does it have the winch, and you winched yourself up? Please tell me you got the winch. You didn't want to get the winch. I need to stop dying. I'm gonna die because of that awful joke/reference that probably only a handful of people will get, even though Uncharted 4 is an incredibly popular game. And we start right back where the Explorer was. That actually works out well. And we have an extra life. So it's as if that didn't even happen. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, it didn't. So there you go. See, because now we gotta capture these 4 thieves that are roaming around. And before you ask, no, it's not the same thieves that dress up in a robe shrouding most of their body while saying na 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 na. These thieves, actually... If I can actually find one, that would be great. Oh, I see one. These guys over here. Which I think they're meant to look like wily foxes. Where the heck did you go? Hello? You're still down there. What the frick? Let's try that again. Actually go, there you go. That's what I wanted you to do. Yeah, I think they're supposed to be foxes. Yeah, and that's like a... Whoa, I am in Spyro's brain right now. Good God. That was disturbing. I saw some shit right there. I think they're supposed to be foxes, because foxes are known to be, like, sneaky and voiced by Jason Bateman and all that stuff. So yeah, it fits. And there's also a thief right around this corner that has a handy little exploit that makes it a lot easier to catch him. And it's an exploit that I'm really glad passed over to this version of the game. This is actually one that my dad taught me, because he used to play this game too. The original, that is. And he always had trouble with this thief, because even though he runs like a really short route, like back down there and back around through this cave, he's surprisingly difficult to get to. However, there is a handy little shortcut that you can use to get to him a lot faster. And also, you might have noticed that cauldron over there. We shall get to that later. Boop! Just like that. It takes a little bit of patience, but pretty easy kill. And while we're over here, I might as well glide down to that thief over there, which also has a really short route. He pretty much just runs around in a circle through this grass here. But he's surprisingly difficult to catch up to. You kind of have to cut him off a bit. And if you cut him off too much, then he'll just start running in the opposite direction. There we go. And that leads us to the final thief, which is arguably the hardest. And that is mostly because he runs across these treetops here. He does have a pretty standard path, but he's still a standard path that I apparently have not memorized. Jumps down to this tree, and then just goes all the way back around to the big bounce. May take you a couple laps to catch up to him. But just keep on charging as much as you can. Take these sharp corners. And fail miserably like I just did. Do as I say, not as I do, children. Oh god, now I gotta go all the way back up there just to catch up to him, don't I? Because if I try to get him from this direction, then he's just gonna go the opposite direction, and then when he gets over here, he's gonna jump up there, and it's gonna throw me off. And I'm just gonna stop talking, and stop complaining about it, and actually take some action, for once in my life. I'm a man of action after all. So there we go. Okay. Okay. That was BS. I charged right... Are you serious right now? Oh, God. Okay, for a second I thought I broke the game. Oh, wow. Okay. Heart attack averted. Especially considering this is the last freaking thief. I would not have been happy. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. Okay. I think it's when I, like, charge and jump through it that it doesn't, register, which is not great. It's kind of like the whirlwinds now. They only activate if you enter them through the very base, rather than, like, near the base or the middle. So let's stop charging and just go right through. There we go. That's gonna slow us down a little bit, but if it has to be done, it has to be done. But I'm just gonna speed up until I actually catch this guy. Fudge! Oh, get me out of here! Wait, what? Oh. That counter popped up and I thought I got him. Somehow. Son of a biscuit. Wait. Hi. Come at me, bro! Come! Go! Wait, where the heck are you going? I've never experienced this before. I've never chased him from this direction. I don't know where the heck you went. Did you jump back up at the top of the tree? I don't know. I don't know where you are right now in 3D space. Oh. Hi. Okay. Yep, okay. Okay. I just wasted everyone's time, including my own. So I'm just going to also pretend that that never happened and just continue with my life. Whew! Finally. It's a good thing I'm playing this casually and not racing.
Oh, I'm back in business. Here, young dragon friend, take this. It's museum quality, but you deserve it.
Gosh, the patience that I had for that challenge is so rare that it belongs in a museum. We somehow need to... And then this weird thing happens. Even though he has nothing else to say, I am stuck and then Zoe zaps me. But we need to find a way to somehow make my patience a tangible physical thing, put it in a bottle, and donate it to a museum. I will make millions. Just you wait. Alright, now it's time to discover what all of those miscellaneous things scattered throughout the level are used for. It is used for aiding this smart little fella right here.
Ah, Spyro, so glad you're here. I'm perfectly useless without my trusty pencil, and I seem to have lost it. I do have this extra egg. Perhaps you can trade it for my pencil.
Perhaps I can. It's an egg. I shall fry it and then harden the yolk and somehow convert that yolk into graphite, and then I can make you a new pencil. It's a foolproof plan. Now, if you've been paying attention to the random things scattered throughout the level, then this challenge should be pretty straightforward. This is an egg, so it would most likely belong in this bird's nest. So there you go, just spit it right in there, and this birdie will help you a little bit further. And then you just need to keep on trading it until you get to the pencil. Now, I didn't really get a very good close-up of that, but that is supposed to be a seed. Which looks like, this thing over here could use a bit of fertilization. So there's that. Thing looks so cool, I love it. It actually looks like something out of a Mario game. And then there's this cute little ducky. My god, that thing just gravitates right to my mouth. My mouth is a magnet. And the ducky is... Oh my god, stop bumping into crap. Ducky is the easiest one to figure out where it belongs to. I mean, unless you, haven't been fully exploring the level up to this point. Let's put it right next to these duckies over here. And this ducky will cough that out. And what we have right here is what I'm guessing is supposed to be a radish. A radish, or an onion, or a turnip. Some sort of vegetable that's used quite a bit in cooking. So we need to find something that is able to cook. Like Walter White. And that cooking apparatus that we've heard so much about is this cauldron right here. And this right here is arguably one of the hardest and yet one of the more obvious things to trade. This gold coin here. You haven't really seen anything that could be compared to a gold coin, and not even money bags. However, if we go over to this fountain here, look at the bottom, we can see there's a whole bunch of coins on the bottom. So I guess you could call this a sort of wishing well. A lot of people don't really tend to look here for it, but if you just spit it anywhere in the bottom rim of the fountain, and lo and behold, the pencil. I love how it just has like this really underwhelming noise. Whereas in the, I know I keep on saying this, but in the original, there's like this grandiose whoosh noise, and when the pencil came out, it was like all sparkly, and it was like this hallelujah moment. And here it's just like a, here's your damn pencil, I'll get out of here. Honestly, I have no complaints about that. I think that's kind of hilarious what they did with that. I love it. Here you go, my dude. Write some crap.
Pencil! Now I can begin calculating the age of the universe again. Here, take this orb for safekeeping. Alora thinks I'm going to lose it.
I mean, you lost your most prized possession somehow. Who's to say that you won't do the same with one of my prized possessions? You know?
Carry the 6.
Oh no, we need to get away from him. He is doing the most painful thing of all, which is math. We must flee. And since Mystic Marsh is now 100% complete, we can get out of here. And he's sleeping again, because of course he is. Which leads us to this lovely cutscene. God, that must hurt. Again, I wish I knew the secret to falling asleep that easily and quickly. I wish. Does everyone in Avalar just have a bunch of Z-Quill on hand? Because that's what it's looking like. Hey, Penguin! Did I ever tell you that you're my favorite animal? I love penguins so much, the way that they waddle and do the little chirpy sound and slide on the ice. It's so cute. I love you, Penguin. I love how it has a little sound effect. Why must you forsake me? And look at this, another ice cavern. This Riptol's Rage especially is just obsessed with ice caverns, it seems. And boy, do they look lovely in this version. And hey, it's the professor again, back at it with his trusty pencil.
Well, it's some consolation that you've collected so many orbs. My high-tech portal here will take you to Cloud Temples.
So you remember how earlier, how orbs, helped unlock certain parts of the hub worlds? Here, it just straight up unlocks levels. So yeah, now that you've collected all the talismans, it really hammers in the importance of orbs in Winter Tundra. And so, let's go to the latest one that we unlocked, Cloud Temples. Poor sheep, he doesn't know what the heck's going on. Whoops. Mess with the sheep and you'll go and get the horns. And as you can see, this is another one of those levels that kind of shares similar denizens, because this guy is pretty much just a rework of the wizards from Mystic Marsh, just with a slightly different costume and slightly erased mustache. Let's go talk to him.
I used to be one of Avalar's most powerful magicians, until that big warlock over there stole my wand. He and his friends have used the magic within to take over the city.
Well, why don't you go get him? I mean, he's just standing right there, and you're just, you know, freaking... You're able to levitate without a magic wand, so what else are you capable of? My gosh, you're lazy.
You don't actually expect me to fight him, do you? You're the big tough dragon, right?
Tough? Maybe. Big? I'm smaller than you, dude. What world are you living on? Ugh. And every time you defeat one of these warlocks, this wizard comes over and allows you to progress through the rest of the level. So it's another one of those instances where you have to do something special in order to progress through the level. Although it's a bit downplayed in here, because pretty much all I have to do is, like, fight specific enemies that are along the way anyway, so... And most of the time you're just... Oh god! Mindlessly defeating enemies anyway, so... Gosh, this guy looks freaking creepy. See how he's spitting all these lava rocks at you? If you defeat him, and you're able to use his lava rocks. Which is really cool. My god, he like fires in a straight line right now, rather than an arced trajectory, which kind of weird. Oh jeez. Oh, ow. I gotta watch my back. God, this looks pretty. This is what I call cloud temples, because you're actually in the clouds and it's a temple, so you know. I also like how it was kind of hinted at that in the original this level was like kind of taking after my gosh, I don't want to sound like racist here if I get it wrong, but I guess sort of like Chinese or Japanese folklore, maybe even Nepalese in there. And they really went all out in that regard. It almost kind of looks like a cartoony version of that I want to say Nepalese village. It's been forever since I played the game, but that big old village in the mountains in Uncharted 2. Looks really neat. Oh jeez! Oh my gosh! Stop it! Cease your shenanigans. Yeah, and that's another animation that I was kind of disappointed, because this is actually an animation that I was really looking forward to seeing for the Reignited Trilogy. Because in the original, this dude just straight up, like, shoots a fireball right at these big doors here, and they just crumble and explode, and it looks awesome. Here, he just, like, shines a bit of light on it, and they disintegrate. Bit underwhelming. I was expecting to see, like, a Michael Bay-style explosion, but... God, why do I keep on nitpicking if I love this game so much? See, I guess it looks kind of cool, but I wanted a big boom, yo. Alright. Now it's time for, we just saw not a character, but an animation that I was really looking forward to seeing, and now we're about to encounter a character that I was really looking forward to seeing when I first played this level. That's this guy right here. God, he looks cool.
I'm a secret agent. I'm going to my secret hideout.
Spyro, where the hell are you?
Only members of my secret club are allowed to go there. I'm not leaving unless you hide behind that tree so you can't see me.
Oh, wait, what? Spyro, you're literally talking to a wall. My gosh, you have issues. This guy here, my god, they retained his look and his sound so freaking well. He looks like just big old dim-witted humanoid-looking dude, and the way that he sounds is just, ugh. He sounds a little bit different than his original, but they just nailed his dim-wittedness. He looks so cool, and sounds just, ugh. Great redesign, great redesign. So what you do with this guy is you use these trees scattered throughout this part of the level. And as soon as you walk behind one, as soon as you walk behind one, there we go. He starts moving around, and you have to follow him all the way to the hideout. And if you get caught by him... Hey!
This time I better not catch you sneaking behind me. My hideout is for members only.
Are you gonna wear a members-only jacket? So this one is also one of those, scripted challenges that's a bit tricky for newcomers. You have to walk behind him the entire time. If you walk only a little bit in front of him, they'll automatically detect you. And also, whoa, jeez, that was close. And also, if you accidentally touch him, then he'll figure out that you're following him. And also, if you wait too long, then those doors will eventually close, so you have to stay right on his tail. And kind of like the Alchemist, I think his animations are a bit unfinished, especially his jumping animation, because it looks like he's just kind of floating upward. But other than that, this challenge is very well retained from the original. Then he goes over to this tree. And I remember, I'll actually talk about it a little bit later, because he's just going to start talking now and give me an orb.
What? You managed to get here without following me? You must be a member of my secret club after all. Here, take this secret decoder. It will allow us to send secret messages.
Well, yeah, you know, the first rule of Flame Club is you don't talk about Flame Club. But yeah, the main thing that made this challenge, like, really difficult and made newcomers want to pull their hair out was, it might take you a few tries to really perfect Agent Zero's movements and move quick enough to get all behind all these trees and realize that you need to go behind that tree and then that tree really quickly. But in the original, Agent Zero would actually, you know, look around at this last tree here, walk over here, and right before he got to the gate, he would suddenly just stop for a second. And, you know, all of these people, including myself, who was new to Spyro and new to this challenge, would be like, oh my gosh, there's the end right there, I'm so close, and then kind of barrel towards the end door, and then when Agent Zero would stop right here, they would just bump right into his butt, and then have to start the challenge all over again. Oh, it was just torturous. I really was hoping that they would leave that in there, because that was like the hardest and most unexpected part of the challenge. And it would especially be difficult and frustrating for people who are using this game to play Spyro for the first time. I'm a horrible person. I want people who are playing this game for the first time to suffer through this challenge. I'm just now processing what I'm saying. And I sound awful, but it's true. I want people to suffer through this game the same way that I did. The same way that all of us did, really. And yes, there's these baskets that are cleverly hidden on top of these pillars here. And I really like how excuse me, how as soon as you flame these things, the gems just drop right off in this area. And the original, they would just kind of hang on the geometry of this this pillar here, and it was kind of difficult to get to them, especially if you had no sparks. But now that that's done, let's move on through the level. And talk to this guy who has a power-up challenge for us that we unfortunately cannot access yet.
Our bell towers have been invaded by trolls. You might be able to help, but you can't beat them without activating this power-up.
I know, they're overrun with trolls. My gosh, hopefully they're not gonna say how they had sex with our mother last night and that they hope we get cancer. Hello. Yeah, these guys are honestly pretty hard to dodge. But they're also pretty easy to defeat. Checking to see if I missed any gems, which I did not. And now it's time for the old 1, 2, 3 punch. Let's do it! Booyah! 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 And yes, even though we have enough spirit particles to access that power up over there, let's just go over here since this is the end of the level. Kind of a weird sound for a wand to make.
You have freed our city from the claws of those evil warlocks. Please, take this orb. I foresee that it will help you on your journey.
Well, it's an orb, so of course it will. Every orb counts. And one thing that Insomniac did, especially like near the end of Spyro 2 and a little bit peppered throughout Spyro 3, are these really random and forced pop culture references. And you'll see what I mean if you talk to this guy again after he gives you the orb.
Listen carefully, Spyro. If you want to get back to your homeworld, hold that orb and recite these 3 words. Klaatu, Barata, Nah, never mind.
Yes, because as we all know... And yes, that is a line from the original. Also, Sparks does not want to collect that gem. As we all know, anyone who's old enough to play Spyro 2 has also seen Army of Darkness. Or as some people call it, Evil Dead 3. Yeah, kind of a weird reference to make, but one that I respect nonetheless, especially in my older age. At least it's not like... Here's the fire trolls right here. At least it's not like, Spyro Enter the Dragonfly levels of pop culture reference cringe. Anyone who's played that game knows exactly what I'm talking about. Just, the writing in that game is just so... Oh my god, you're trying way too hard to be relevant that you're just cringy and automatically dated. So now we can talk to this guy over here, and as that big ol' snowflake in the middle of the power-up would hint at, this is a Super Freeze power-up. Which this is the only time that this appears in the entire game. So why they're introducing it near the end of the game is kind of weird, but let's do it.
Our mystical bell towers have been overrun by trolls, and the bells haven't been rung in days. I tried a fire spell on the trolls, but that just made them crazier. This Super Freeze power-up will chill out the trolls, but we really need the bells to ring. They'll ring if you charge into them.
Thanks for the tip. Also, if you heard that sort of slamming sound, that was one of my cats getting into the kitchen cupboard. So, sorry about that. Okay, so let's... there it is again, Ambrose. My god, cut it out, buddy. Excuse me for 1 second. Okay, I don't think Ambrose is going to distract us anymore. He was just being silly. But by god, does Spyro look cool when he's in Super... I almost said Super Flame. Super Freeze mode! So yep, all I gotta do is make sure these guys are fairly close together, chill them out, and use them as stepping stones. Pretty easy. And to think, in the original game, this challenge got a 5-star difficulty rating, when the hardest part about it was figuring out that you needed to use the frozen trolls as stepping stones. Again, it's another one of those challenges, but it just encourages you to think for a split second. Use this guy to charge right up here. But in the original, it's 5 stars. In this version, it's only 2 stars, which makes a whole lot more sense, honestly. I mean, yeah, you gotta kind of get the timing right, which is, you know, requires a little bit of patience, but it's not 5-star difficulty worthy by any stretch of the imagination.
I suppose you want an orb for doing that.
Yes, please.
Well, I'm afraid not.
Oh.
There's still 1 bell left. You can get to it by using the whirlwind behind me.
Yep, the rule of 3. As consistent as gravity. And also as consistent as gravity is the possibility of one of these trolls glitching. Is he glitching? He is glitching. Yep. I, as well as a few friends of mine, have encountered this little glitch before, and unfortunately, as far as we know, yeah, that's great, guy. The only remedy that we know of is, to do that. I probably should have tried doing that before, you know, just automatically killing myself when I first encountered that glitch. But hey, now you guys know. If that happens, just freeze him and unfreeze him, and that should work. So this guy's just gonna run around the whole thing, and you want to freeze him right here. Pretty easy. Just keep on freezing, and Bob's your uncle.
Thanks, Spyro. I didn't think you could do it. Here, have a souvenir from the Cloud Temple's gift shop.
Now, in the original, he said Mystic City Gift Shop, which I'm guessing might have been the original name for this level before they settled on the Cloud Temples. So I'm not sure which level name they came up with first, Mystic City or Mystic Marsh. For all I know, Mystic Marsh's name could have been different as well. Who knows? Now, there is something else that we can get while we're up here. If we go up here and then see the little platform on the edge there, kind of need to do a bit of a goofy glide over there and hover. Nice. And now we just wait here for a little while our Super Flame runs out. Super Freeze runs out. And... the other way that they laugh. And that gets the lockbox that was down by Agent Zero's area. And this should be the rest of the gems. Hoo-yah! Cloud Temple's done. Alright, so that's, the entirety of, Winter Tundra over halfway done. So let's get out of here and move on to the next level. Oh, they about to make some sweet love. Woohoo! This is like my favorite shade of blue too. Oh, I must don't want to leave this cave. It looks so good. Okay. Shut up. Even though you're pink ones and I love you, shut up. So now we can go through here. I remember back when my dad played this game with me, he didn't know that you needed to use the head bash to get rid of all the rocks. Which is kind of weird because in every other area of the game, when Moneybags taught you a new move, you would automatically be able to use the move next to him. Like in Summer Forest, there was a big lake where he taught you how to swim underwater. There was a ladder next to where he taught you how to climb in Autumn Plains. And he actually thought that in order to access the rest of the level, he needed more orbs. Because he thought that the rest of the level was just gonna be where Ripto was. And so he collected every single orb up to that point, and then he got to this area here, and he was like, what the hell, why can't I get through this door yet? And he knew that I had played the game in its entirety before, and he actually came to me and says, son, how the heck do you open this door? I've got all the orbs so far. And I said, Dad, head bash the rock. And he was like, oh. Well, I'm dumb. Classic father-son banter. Alright, so now that we've dabbled in the world of magic with those past 2 levels, let's dabble in the world of science! Robotica Farms away! Prepare to get stung! I love that. And I absolutely love how these guys look too. It's another one of my favorite NPC redesigns for Spyro 2. They just... I love them.
Howdy, Spyro. These here pests have infested our farm. Could you find the time to help us get rid of them?
Gladly.
Find your way over to the giant bug lamp and turn it on so we can zap any more invading pests.
I also love how there's like a constant jackhammer effect with his legs. I think that's a cute little touch. I also, oh good god, I forgot about the music here. It's so freaking good. I actually used to honestly kind of hate the music for Robotica Farms. It was way too, it was annoying. It didn't really have a whole lot of zing to it. And it fit like the, I guess like the farming aspects of the level, but didn't really have like that futuristic robotic zing to it, I guess. But here, oh, it's such a great remix of the music. Also, the meme police are here, I guess. I'm not sure if you can hear that siren, but yeah. And these guys are just as annoying as they were in the original. You can get them with a P-shot, but you can also jump up and flame them after they're done doing that. And these guys, while they're on their backs, do that. And that's where the head bash really comes in handy. I also really like the voices for the robot NPCs in this level, because In the original, yes, they did have that, classic, like, country southern accent, the southern drawl, but here it actually sounds roboticized, and the two mesh together really, really well. This is just a great redesign. I'd say maybe behind Shady Oasis, and perhaps even Skelos Badlands, this is another one of my favorite level redesigns for Spyro 2. It looks and it sounds just phenomenal. I love it. And this is actually one of my least favorite levels in the original Spyro 2. I don't really know. I just didn't... I guess I kind of like the idea of, like, robots farming in, like, a futuristic setting, and yet it has, like, this countryside farmy feel. I feel like it was, like, a good combination, but they didn't really mesh them together all that well, and the level just kind of felt bland. But here, even though, you know, a lot of it's retained, like all of the challenges and all of the characters and all of the enemies and all that, very well retained, it just looks and feels, I guess, so much more alive and just so much better. Like, there's a lot going on. It feels like an actual living, breathing farm with, you know, characters that aren't living or breathing. Which is what Insomniac was trying to go for from the beginning, and they just perfected it here. It just looks so vibrant and just so farming and yet really metallic and just futuristic. It's that mesh that they were trying to go for, just brought to life in a very unique and refreshing way. This guy... Yeah. And also these guys look really, really shiny. And I like it a lot. I like shiny things. They're pretty. And yes, another lockbox here. Oh my gosh, I actually acknowledged a lockbox without walking right past it. Yay for me. I'm getting better at this, I swear. Also, oh god, oh, again, my favorite shade of blue, which is properly named Electric Blue. A great color, and I've said it before, a very underrated Arcade Fire song.
These darn bugs are making a joke of my expensive robot scarecrows.
Go away, mean police.
Down and flame them, Spyro?
Now this is, I'm not really sure if this is really deserving of a 4-star difficulty rating, but this is one of those challenges that really rewards fast reflexes. Gonna kind of like charge, jump, and hover at the top of these bales of hay here in order to get to these guys. Did I get 2 in one shot? Hell yeah, I did. And if you wait around too long, then some of the bugs will respawn, so you gotta really get them all quickly, and done.
My fields are safe from those flying vermin, Spyro. Take this doodad I done dug up yesterday.
It's one of those challenges that, goes by really quick as long as you act quick, which is the same for most challenges in any game ever, but... See what I mean again? Like the monkeys and Scorch, the bugs just respawn randomly after you already have gotten the orb. But yeah, if you dilly-dally too much, or if your aim and jumps are a bit off, then this... this task can take a while. It takes a while to perfect, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. There's that big boom. Ooh, oh, almost didn't get that elevator. Now, this elevator only serves one purpose, and that's for this rocket right here, which breaks the lockbox down there. Pretty straightforward, honestly. There we go. Right, now the easiest way to defeat these guys is just wait for them to shoot 3 times, and then jump up and flame them, because they have to, I guess, reload after they fire 3 rounds? Something like that. Again, the rule of 3 in full swing. Speaking of rule of 3... Whoa. Where the heck did you go? You might notice that, this game does have 3 hub worlds, and each of them are named after a season. Which is kind of weird considering there are 4 seasons on this grand world of ours. And that's because this game was a tiny bit rushed in its development. And while the overall game doesn't really suffer all that much, like, there's nothing that's, like, terribly incomplete or game-breaking. But the original game was meant to have a 4th homeworld called Spring Savannah. But unfortunately, it did not come to fruition. But that just, you know, it makes the overall game a little bit shorter, but that much more technically sound. And, you know, all of the levels and challenges, darn it, were more finely tuned because of that, I guess. Guess that makes sense. Ugh. But it would have been cool to see what Spring Savannah would have been like. And there has been talk, like, very, very... It's still very much in the rumor stage. I'm not sure if there's, like, any truth to it whatsoever. But I think it's more, hope than rumor at this point. But, a lot of people are saying that it would be really cool if Toys for Bob... Either that or, like, die-hard fans of the game actually made a Spring Savannah homeworld, complete with, like, 5, 6, or even 7, separate levels. To, like, really bring Spring Savannah to life with, like, all new levels and all new characters and all that. Which is something that, Vicarious Visions kind of did with the Insane Trilogy, because they made, the downloadable level, Future Tense, as well as, Stormy Ascent, which was actually based on a level that Naughty Dog already made for Crash 1, but it was omitted from the original first game because it was too hard. But Future Tense was entirely Vicarious Visions' creation, and it proved that they could make, like, an old-school Crash level and still have it, you know, still have it be fresh while at the same time nostalgic. And even though that's a much taller order for a game like Spyro, since it's a far less linear game and has, like, a lot more characters and tasks in it, but I feel like if the Reignited Trilogy looks and feels and sounds this good, Toys for Bob could very well be up to the challenge, and if they do decide to make a Spring Savannah level, I am quite excited to see how it turns out. But that's enough of my rambling for now. Let's zap these bitches.
Way to go, Spyro! Them varmints won't be coming near our crops now. Can I offer you a reward?
You certainly can. Now, I'm not, you know, saying anything negative about, you know, gender stereotypes or norms or anything like that, but I find it rather peculiar that they chose to make this robot, or any robot for that matter, wear pink. Kind of a weird decision. I mean, you can flaunt pink all you want, I'm not gonna judge, but kind of a weird choice. I mean, it's a pretty pink. He's pretty in pink, definitely. And here's another mystery vase. Thankfully, the last in the game. There's also this duder who wants us to clear stuff out.
I used to drive my tractor all around the farm, but some fool robot blocked the path up. Do you think you could clear things up with a bit of supercharge?
Certainly. And this is another pretty difficult supercharge course here, because it's... You might have seen this course, like, spiral all throughout the level, and that's because it kind of does. See, it continues over there, goes around the bug zapper, and then ends up over here. It's a pretty long one. But with some steering prowess, you get a good feel for when you're supposed to jump. It's both easy and pretty fun. Motherfuck! I'm gonna try that again and not say a single word the whole time I'm doing it. There we go. Much better.
Piece of steering that was, Dragon. Here, take this thingamajig I found in the cow pen.
Sorry if it still has manure on it. Okay, so there's all the orbs in Robotica Farms collected. One thing I kind of wanted to point out while I was on the Supercharge course is I love how the big old pumpkins that you knock down now have faces. Kind of makes them look like jack-o'-lanterns, which I know this isn't a Halloween-themed level, like in the same vein as, say, Mad Monster Mansion from Banjo-Kazooie, but I just think it's a nice little touch. It's another one of those touches that's not really necessary, but it just adds just a dash more personality to the level. Alright, so there's all the gems collected on the Supercharge course. So now let's go deal with this mystery vase. Pretty sure the mystery vase houses the last gems that we need in the level. So let's do that really quickly. And here we are at the very start of the level. Let's see if this is the last. It's not. How many am I missing? 2! Of course I am. Let the search commence. Somewhere up there. Good thing about this level is that it's one of the few levels in Spyro 2 that has a bit of a shortcut to the area where you beat the level. Like a shortcut from the start of the level to the end of it. Something that doesn't appear a whole lot in Spyro 2, but it's something that appears in almost every level in Spyro 3. And it's also something that passed over to the Ratchet and Clank games. Because those games, like a lot of levels in those games, especially the first one, has a lot of split paths. Like there's some levels that have as many as like 3 or 4 different paths that you can go down. And they all loop back to the start of the level, whether by an actual loop around, or a teleport, or one of those intergalactic taxi cabs. So, and ever since then, it's kind of become a staple to platform games like this, just have a big old loop around from the start to the finish of the level, which is really cool. It's very convenient. If you just keep on chawing on that barley, or whatever that is. I've never really understood why country folk have, like, that straw of hay hanging out of their mouth. I'm not really sure what purpose it serves. Maybe I ought to look that up. There might be some history behind that that is interesting, for all I know.
Oh! Hey, hey!
They must love bright, shiny objects as much as me. One day it might even be my downfall, who knows? Keep them coming!
I love